Hi, my needle drops. Anthony Fantano here, the internet's busiest music nerd, lover of all things music, except music I don't love, and it's time for a review of the new Blonde Readhead album, Barragán. Indie music vets Blonde Readhead. They hail from New York. They're a musical trio featuring singer and multi-instrumentalist Kazu Makino, one of the most alluring voices in underground music ever. And then we have the twins, Amadeo and Simone Pace, who handle co-songwriting as well as guitars, drums, singing as well. And together, these guys have penned some of the most gorgeous, sensual, dreamy, syrupy indie pop and rock as well as noise rock of the 90s and 2000s. And some of Blonde Readhead's biggest musical successes aren't that far behind them. We have their '04 album, Misery is a Butterfly, 2007's 23, and their last full-length LP, Penny Sparkle, in 2010, while not unanimously decided to be one of their greatest albums by critics and fans, I enjoyed it, though at the time I remember quite a few people critiquing the sort of change in pace that Blonde Readhead took on this album, embracing more electronic elements, maybe taking on a little too many of the very trendy chill wave sounds that were popular around this year. And even though Blonde Readhead did work on a film score that dropped in 2011, most hardcore fans were most likely anticipating more this new full length of theirs, Barragán. And this album is a very apparent sound and direction change for Blonde Readhead. It is not quite as electronic as their last full-length LP, and it is nowhere near as dense or as lush as their previous albums either. This time around, Blonde Readhead is sounding way more skeletal and stripped back and eerie and sort of intimate too. I think Blonde Readhead does a good job of maintaining a lot of their usual characteristics, but they deliver them in a much darker and simpler and more mangled way. However, I will not beat around the bush when it comes to my opinion of this record. I feel like it is a bit of a letdown. There are some musical highlights on the standard 10-track song listing on this record, and for sure this sound change sounds really exciting in concept, in blueprint. But there are some incredibly lacking songs on this record as well. It seems like in the midst of this less is more ideal that Blonde Readhead presents, there are some songs here that present much too little. Like with the song Cat on a Tin Roof, a very loosely and shyly played piece of vintage pop music. And it doesn't even sound like Blonde Readhead wrote this song. It's almost as if they're just doing it off the top of their heads, because the performance of this song doesn't really have that much purpose to it. It's almost as if the band is just kind of playing to kill time, like they're waiting for something to happen. I was thinking it's almost as if they're in the middle of sound check or something, which was something that to me felt sort of confirmed, because as soon as Kazu's first sung verse is over, it's almost as if she says like something aside into the microphone to the sound engineer or something, almost as if they're just getting levels on this track, and this is just a spare instrumental or B-side that they just tossed onto the record, even though the performance is borderline horrendous. This song is like the epitome of not giving a shit. It's almost as if they just put it on this record because there's a 10-track song requirement or something. And then there's the 9-minute Mind to Be Had, which feels like it was just put into the track listing to fulfill a time requirement. The song is a very coherent and sort of tightly played jam, has kind of a krautrock-esque, steady, repetitive groove to it, but the very faint and shy progressions of the instrumentation on this song in no way justify the length. And then there's the 3 minutes or so of filler directly after the 2 minutes of decent songwriting on the song Defeatist Anthem. It is a very coherent and pleasant song up until the point where it ends. It has a beautiful haunting melody that kind of reminds me of a early Portishead or something like that. But as soon as this music dies down, it goes to silence, and the band just presents one disjointed musical interlude after another, essentially killing time up until the track reaches the 6-minute mark. And there's also tracks on here like Dripping, which to me, musically, stylistically, are absolutely faceless. And to me, Blonde Readhead is a band that has been very much not faceless, very much bold, very much chock full of personality, but this track to me kind of sounds like your average, jangly pretend shoegaze, reverb rock, underground SoundCloud band trying to do a cover of Daft Punk's Get Lucky. Then there's 7-2, the uninspiringly redundant closing track of this LP, which starts off really promising, but it's by the end of the song that I realize that it's pretty much nearly the same guitar part over and over and over, as well as the same beat. Kazu doesn't really build her vocals up that significantly over the course of the track. Now, most of my favorite tracks on this record are disappointingly short, but they are still highlights nonetheless. There's the title and opening track on this LP, which is a little instrumental, features some woodwinds, some acoustic guitar. It's gorgeous, it's enchanting, would have worked really well in like a Led Zeppelin album or something. And this track gives way directly to one of the best songs on this entire record, Lady M, a track with an incredibly slow, smoky, sensual sound. This is the kind of sensuality that I expect from and love to hear from Blonde Readhead. This song to me just feels like 1930s jazz club spotlight, just loads of cigarette smoke in the air, red dress, red curtains. It's just beautiful. There's a great beat, stellar chorus. I love the melody on this track, the weeping guitars and strings. It's a wonderful song. It's just heartbreaking that there are so many tracks following this song that are absolutely underwhelming. There are some other saving graces in the middle of this track listing too, in my opinion, like the song No More Honey. The song is a little rough around the edges, but it has a beautiful guitar melody, some really interesting, loud, soft dynamics going on with the choruses and the verses, and with the really strange effects on the vocals and the weird buzzing guitars layered over the chorus. I think this song is the closest that Blonde Readhead comes to its shoegazy roots on this record. And the song The One I Love is a really sparse, strange, and haunting acoustic ballad that features a rush of drums and harpsichord over the chorus. Again, they're kind of playing with that loud, soft dynamic over the verses and the choruses. I love how Kazu's voice on this song is so still and so stone-faced. It's just kind of haunting and frightening, and the lyrics she presents on this track as well are absolutely depressing. There are some standout songs on this record. I love the aesthetic that Blonde Readhead is shooting for on this LP, and again, I enjoy the usual characteristics that you find in a Blonde Readhead record, but this album is incredibly lacking in songwriting, sometimes presenting songs that are just absolutely drab and boring, whether that be because of the melodies or the performances. And then again, there are tracks like Cat on Tin Roof, which there's really just no explanation for. If there's one thing that's strange and interesting about this album is that it really runs the gamut of just really top-notch, stellar, instrumentally methodical, and very well put together and detailed songs, and tracks that are like getting a cold lump of mashed potatoes thrown into your lunch tray in a cafeteria housed inside of a compound where you now live because you've given your life over to a cult. Yeah, it's like it's that bad. I'm feeling a strong 5 to a light 6 on this LP. Transition, if you've given this album a listen, what did you think of it? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Why? What do you think I should review next? Let me know. And you're the best. Subscribe. Have a nice day. Drink water. Eat your fruits and vegetables. Hug your loved ones. And try to help others. Okay? Okay. Anthony Fantano, Blonde Readhead, forever.